Tonight, our special transmission as Israel's Defense Ministry confirms receiving an $8.7 billion aid package from the US. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Alia Batul. Today is the 357th day since the onset of Israel's war on Gaza. Israeli airstrikes in the past 24 hours have killed at least 31 Palestinians across the Gaza Strip. A devastating strike today has targeted a tent sheltering displaced Palestinians at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Deir al-Balah. Eyewitnesses report chaos and fear amongst patients and families. The hospital is the only functioning facility in central Gaza. It is treating thousands of Palestinians. 2 Palestinians have been killed in a separate airstrike on a house in El Shati refugee camp. Medical sources report critical injuries to women and children. The death toll from Israel's war is staggering. At the time of writing, at least 41,534 Palestinians have been killed. 96,092 have been injured. A report published in the British medical journal The Lancet estimates the death toll in Gaza could be as high as 186,000. The report was published in July. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is catastrophic. There is widespread displacement and severe shortages of essential supplies. In the 11 months of war, Israel has frequently targeted hospitals, schools, and places of worship. Israel faces accusations of genocide at the International Court of Justice for its actions in Gaza. Gaza's health ministry says it will no longer accept unidentified bodies from Israel. The news comes as Israel has sent a truck filled with nearly 90 decomposed bodies. The ministry says Israel has not provided identification about the deceased, including their names, ages, and location of deaths. This marks the 5th time unidentified corpses have been delivered. Middle East Eye reports medical officials at Nasser Hospital instructed a truck driver arriving from the Karam Abu Salam checkpoint to go back to where he came from. After leaving the hospital, the driver attempted to return to the crossing. However, he was shot at by Israeli forces, compelling him to return to the facility. On August 2nd, a truck carrying approximately 90 bodies arrived in Gaza. Authorities say the remains were just bones and decomposed bodies in an inhumane manner. International humanitarian law mandates the dignified treatment of the deceased. Yet the corpses depict inhumane treatment of Palestinians even after death. Lebanon's health ministry reports at least 25 people have been killed since Friday morning. An airstrike in the town of Sheba has claimed the lives of 9 family members, including 4 children. The attack occurred early morning when the family was asleep in their home. Medical officials say the hospital have received over 500 casualties this week. Hezbollah claims firing 2 rounds of missile salvos at the northeastern Israeli city. Yemen's Houthi group says it has fired a ballistic missile towards southern Tel Aviv and launched a drone at the coastal city of Escalation. Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant says the military is committed to striking Hezbollah until northern Israel is secure. The United Nations Refugee Agency reports that more than 30,000 individuals, primarily Syrians, have fled into Syria amid the escalating violence. More than 90,000 civilians have been displaced since September 23rd. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah deepens as the group is retaliating against Israel's attacks. Israel's defense ministry reports it has secured an $8.7 billion aid package from the US. The announcement follows negotiations at the Pentagon between Israel officials and U.S. defense representatives. The funding will support Israel's military campaigns. The package allocates $3.5 billion for essential wartime procurement. $5.2 billion will be used for advanced air defense systems, including the Iron Dome and David's Sling. Israeli officials say the aid reflects the strong strategic partnership between the two nations. A pro-Israel legal group has sought assistance from the Israeli government in its ongoing legal battles with two NGOs working in the occupied Palestinian territories. The plea by the UK Lawyers for Israel dates back to 2019. Back then, the group faced legal threats from the UK charity Interpol and an NGO defense for Children International Palestine. Right now, the UK Lawyers for Israel is contesting the British government's partial suspension of arms sales to Israel. The group has threatened judicial action unless the suspension is lifted. The group has also filed complaints against the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. It alleges misuse of power by the prosecutor in the ongoing legal discourse surrounding Israel's military actions. Anti-Zionist Jewish activists and rabbis are denouncing the alleged role of American Israel Public Affairs Committee in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. AIPAC is a pro-Israel lobbying group that advocates its policies to the legislative and executive branches of the United States. It is one of the most powerful lobbying groups. Protesters stormed the organization's office in Los Angeles. Footage from the protest shows speakers asserting that Jewish safety should not come at the cost of Palestinian suffering. The crowd can be heard chanting, "Wake up, wake up." They accuse AIPAC of facilitating U.S. political backing for Israel. They say the organization ensures the continuation of weapon supplies used against Palestinians. The protesters say they reject the deaths of thousands, including children, in the name of Jewish safety. Three Israeli human rights organizations have accused Channel 14 of airing over 50 statements that advocate for or defend genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. The channel is supportive of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A report by Israeli newspaper Haaretz says the group includes Zulat for Equality and Human Rights, Hatzlaha, and the Democratic Bloc. They have compiled a list of incitements to war crimes since October 7th. They allege that the channel has also broadcasted calls for the mass expulsion of Gaza residents and the use of starvation as a weapon of war. In a letter to Attorney General Gali Beharev, the organizations have requested a criminal investigation. They say Channel 14's content constitutes systemic incitement to commit crimes. They argue for significant penalties against the channel for these violations. Sound Vision Canada is hosting its annual Ihsan Gala on September 28th at Candles Banquet Hall in Mississauga, Ontario. The organization is a registered charity and a nonprofit. It provides the Muslim community's professional training. The event will start at 6 in the evening. This year's event will be hosted by the award-winning broadcaster Janella Massa. Harun Siddiqui is the keynote speaker of the event. Siddiqui is the first Muslim and Indo-Canadian to reach senior editorial ranks in Canadian mainstream media. He is a veteran journalist and a recipient of both the Order of Canada and the Order of Ontario. Attendees will have a chance to interact with Siddiqui, who will be signing copies of his latest book, My Name Is Not Harry. You can get your tickets now by visiting soundvisioncanada.org. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV.